Fidelis joining us. Fidelis, you are welcome. Fidelis, can you hear me?
Hello.
You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So we said we want to give our colleagues some few more minutes to see if we can get
Okay.
them through
Okay.
before we
Okay.
start.
That will be fine.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Hi, Josephine.
Hello,
Hello,
Mr.
Josephine.
Ama. Yes, please, Mr. Ama.
Yes, I think we should start. We have a good representation.
Yes.
I think I was deceived by the number I saw initially, so I didn't know we have about 24, and so it means that we have about 20 minimum participants, and I think given that we have given ourselves about 20 minutes, it is good to go. So maybe you can open it and then I'll take it from there.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Welcome once again, everyone here to this online workshop. We are happy to have you all here. So for today's theme, we'll be looking at your small business and your environmental, social, and then governance goal. So we would learn how to be socially responsible as business owners today. And so without much ado, would go into the presentation. So I would want to invite our speaker for today is Mr. Babilo Mahama, and we are very grateful to have you here. And please, Mr. Mahama, please, you can start the session now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Josephine. And CDC Group is grateful to have Social Enterprise Ghana as a partner to implement ESG in social enterprises in the Ghanaian context. So we are very happy to be your partner, and we believe that this partnership is going to bring a lot of mutual benefits to all of us. And for our cherished participants, I would say you are warmly welcome, and it's good to have you today. And we hope that you have value for your time. And so, yes, we are going to be discussing your small business and your ESG goals. And we have captioned it, your business may be small, but your impact doesn't have to be. You can actually have a small business with a big impact, and that is what this is about. And this is our maiden engagement. We want to expose you to the ESG concepts, ESG dimensions, ESG goals, and practices that are relevant to social enterprise business. And so, before we kickstart, I would like to briefly introduce you to the CDC Group. We have three businesses with some strategic business units as well. Now, CDC Group is made up of CDC Consult, and that's our business consulting wing that is into business capacity development in general. We are into organizational development. We are into research and knowledge management. So everything research, everything organizational development, everything capacity development falls under we CDC Consult, is established as a corporate limited by guarantee. We've been around for over 22 years. We are doing 23 years this year. So we've been around for a while. And we have CDC and Associates. CDC Associates is our assurance business unit that is specialized in external audit, whether it is a financial audit. So We are able to provide you with that service, internal audit services, ESG assurance services, risk management in general, sustainability practices. We provide those services under CDC and Associates. We also have our NGO wing called Roof Inlet, that is into local economic development, rural financial literacy, focusing on the marginalized groups, women, youth, and PWDs are all captured under Roof Inlet. So, given that you are social enterprises, I'm sure your services extend to some of these vulnerable groups and vulnerable societies. We are able to partner you through Roof Inlet to, provide tailor-made services to your cherished beneficiaries. And then we also have our Dansonia. Our Dansonia is our learning platform that you can have. We can host your program for you. We are able to also develop tailor-made solutions for you in terms of your capacity needs. Very interactive platform where you can take your courses at your own pace. You can learn, as much as you can. So we provide all the, whether it is a live session or recorded versions and all that, we are able to do that through our Dansonia platform. So basically that is the CDC group. So I'll go straight into the subject matter of today. So you'll be basically looking at introductory section, talk briefly about what the subject matter of today is, and then I will try and demystify what the ESG is all about and how it matters to your small businesses. And then we'll proceed to look at how we can align the ESG goals with your business, mission, vision, purpose, whatever it is. We will look at how you can practically integrate these principles into your daily work. You don't need to have a big budget to do that. We will look at the thorny issue of governance and accountability, which you'll find very useful in terms of how your partners look at you, and if there are questions and answers, we're prepared to take that and respond to them appropriately. So basically, that's what I'll be looking at in the next 2 hours. We can wrap it up in 1.5 hours, and then we have some questions and answers and comment session. Let's try and make this very interactive. So if you have questions, if you have comment to make, feel free to raise your hand and then ask your questions. Or just go ahead and say what you want to add to the discussion. So let's try and make it as interactive as possible. So that is it. Would there be any comments before I start? You can always type in the chat box and then we can read, or you mute and then you ask your questions or contribute to the discussion. So let's make it very interactive as much as possible. Right. So just the intro is basically to inform you in terms of where we are. We've had engagement with Social Enterprise Ghana, your network, and we agreed to form a strategic partnership to build the capacity of social enterprises, especially with the top level management, founder, directors, so that you are able to incorporate or integrate ESG practices into your operations. And also to indicate that the fact is that we've always talked about ESG as if it's for only large corporations or companies, and with all the complex reporting framework that endless list of framework that you can talk about. But let us understand that, and we will soon see why it's equally critical that smaller enterprises are able to adapt these principles and implement them to ensure their own competitiveness and resilience. So we've just trying to make sure that by the end of the day, you are able to live here with some important, understanding of how you can start integrating ESG into the organization. Live it, not just say it, but how you can live it as an institution through, adoption of the ESG culture. So basically, that is the intro and why we want to do this session. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we have a good understanding of the fundamentals of ESG and how they apply to social enterprises. And then we'll be able to also identify key ESG priority areas and how they align with your social enterprise mission. And I'm sure we will have very good interaction over there. Each and every one of you have a clear social missions. And all we are saying is that there's also two more dimensions that you need to incorporate in addition to your social mission, which is the environmental mission and also the governance aspect of it that knits the social and the environmental together. And so basically that's what the objective is. Yeah. So now let's get into what ESG is about. And as I said, we are open for questions. We are open for discussion. Let's make it this as interactive as possible. And if I'm talking too fast, please let me know. Yeah, so I slow down. But first of all, I want to know whether you can even hear me in the first place. So can somebody let me know whether you are hearing me clearly? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so
You are
all
going too
right.
far.
Come again, Victoria.
I said you are going too fast, so you can slow down a little bit for us.
Okay, all
Uh-huh.
right. I'll slow down. Now let's get into the meat. I'll slow down for you. For Victoria's sake, I'm going to be very slow and make sure that we understand. And if you don't, please, any concept, any principle that you don't understand, just unmute and just tell me that, can you go over this again so we can all enjoy it. So this session is basically to do a bit of provide clarity on what this ESG is all about and why it's important for even the small business as our business social enterprises. So that is what we will looking at over here. So let's go into this and say and talk about what it is. So in a nutshell, when we say ESG, it just stands for environmental, social, and governance. And basically, it refers to a set of standards that measure an organization's impact on the environment, its relationship with the stakeholders, and the effectiveness of its governance structures. So we have three dimensions in this definition, or what ESG is all about. We are talking about how, first of all, your environment is, which is how your business impacts and is impacted. So understand that is in two ways. How your business impacts the environment and how the environment impacts the natural world. So it's both ways. I'm sure you've heard of climate change, which falls under the environmental dimension of ESG. And we all know, as of now, I'm sure there are a few of us that are operating in the northern region. Is there anybody that is who are joined from the northern regions? Any of the northern regions? Can we get somebody? Is there anybody who are joined from the northern region?
Yes, please. Upper West.
Upper West region.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
very
Upper West.
good. Very
Upper
good.
West.
Now I am told that the rain has not even started to the extent that we can't even sow the crops. Is that correct? Or
Yes, in
those
some
that have
areas.
sown, yeah. So what is happening? That is climate change, right? When you and I were born, by now we would have sown already. And now we are waiting for rain to start to even sow. So what it tells you is that we are likely not to have the rainfall that we think we need for our crops to do very well. That is it. So that will have impact on production. That will have impact on the livelihood of those that depends on farming. So it is how your activity impact the natural world we live in and how the natural world impact your business. So if you are in the business of supporting farmers, for example, and it's not raining, what are you supporting them? Would they need your support? Support them in what? So it's both ways. So that's one dimension. The one that you pride yourself of is the middle one, which is the social, because you are social enterprises. So that's the one that I will have very little to say, because I can't preach to you what you say you are. So now it's also just about how the business treat people inside and outside the organization. So let's be very clear. It's not just about how you treat the people outside, but also the people inside, the society as a whole, which is the social dimension of ESG. And then the one that knits the environment and social together, the one that ensures that the environmental and social dimension are our missions, our objectives, our strategy are achieved, is the one we call the governance. So how that social enterprise business is run such that we will be responsive to the environmental issues as well as the social issues is what we call the governance. So we will be going deep a bit into this, but in a nutshell, that is what we mean by the ESG, which we will be going into the detail in terms of when you take each one of them, what are the specific standards that we should be discussing. That will come very, very soon and we'll make it very practical for you. Now, the question is, why ESG matters for small and social enterprises? Why does it matter? Why are we bothering ourselves trying to understand this? There are a number of good reasons that we can refer to. First of all is issue of credibility and trust. Maybe I should start from the other side and talk about the competitive edge. Let me start from there to the right hand side. Yeah. ESG can differentiate your enterprise in so many ways. And one of the things that for you is very critical is your funding bits. If not even procurement and all the other reasons we can give, it can distinguish you from your other competitors, where you are all looking for funding to do the business you do. If you say you want to support this group of people, you want to do this, the question is, what makes you different from these other people that are looking for the same money from the same source? ESG can be that differentiator. And so adopting this principle will make you stand out and receptive to the funding institutions or partners. Of course, the other thing is that you are able to better prepare to manage risks as a business. You are able to manage climate-related risks, your reputational, if there are regulatory issues, is able to help you identify what kind of risks associated with the environmental, what kind of risks associated with your social risks, as well as your governance risks. And we will be talking about, for example, the governance will be that anytime you want to access some funding to do some social project that you have been doing over the years, I'm sure you can share thousands reasons why some of the fund you were looking for you didn't get. And one of the things they raised was the fact that your governance system or structure is not up to scratch. It's not robust enough. The oversight, it cannot be, cannot guarantee that the fund will be used for the purpose for which it was given. Maybe somebody can share experience on how this has played out for you in the past. Is anyone that can share an experience of this nature for that? Even when you want a facility from a bank, they will tell you the same story. So I'm sure you can share something. Anyone? Any examples? Yes. Anyone? Can you hear me? I want this to be interactive. So, Fidelis, your video is on, so at least I know that you are there. So, can you share some experience with us on this particular issue of governance risks?
Well, in my case, is I went there for a support as an individual,
Uh-huh.
and in terms of farming, it's very risky and it's not good. They look at it's not good for you to support an individual in cooperative. You should be in a group
Uh-huh.
whereby you
Okay.
will you'll be guaranteed for each other before you
Okay.
can have access to that fund.
Okay. And all
Yeah.
that they are just telling you is that, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fidelis. And it's just to let you know that if you're in a group, you can guarantee for each other. That will minimize the risk that you alone, nobody is actually controlling how you use your money. Nobody is overseeing to it. And so they can guarantee that even when you get the money, you pay back. So these are all kind of risks. And if we go through this, you appreciate why you adopt it, and then you are able to manage all kind of risks better, including the governance risks. The other thing is that you are EAG is it's not about being big, it's about being intentional, and therefore you need to make sure that you have the right focus, and then you can have significant effect and have a measurable impact that you can report on. And as social enterprises, one reason is simple. ESG will help you align your mission, very well with ESG principle. It's clearly in line. ESG is clearly in line with your mission as social enterprise. So it's demand driven. You can put it that way. Okay, it's purpose driven. It's your institutional driven because you say you are social enterprise, and definitely if you are socially responsible, then you must know that the society live within an environment, so you equally have to be environmentally responsible. So, and then of course there is credibility and trust that your stakeholders will have for you when you adopt ESG principles. So these are very good reasons. And if you even forget all the reasons that we are giving, the rationale for social enterprise adopting ESG principle, just remember two. One is that ESG aligns with social enterprise mission and vision. Number two is that it gives you credibility. Number three is that it puts you in position to access funding. And then number three is that it helps you to manage risks better. So even for nothing at all, these are good reasons why you should adopt and mainstream ESG in your small operation. So that is it. Now, just to touch base on what we just said, that ESG helps you to prove and scale that commitment. You said, that's why we say it's just to help you prove. Because first of all, remember what I said. You said you are a social enterprise. So if you are adopting ESG, you are simply proving who you are. And that's very, very important, that you are committed to social enterprise innovation. And then, of course, I've mentioned the fact that it's supposed you to write proposal for funding. It helps you to know what impacts that you should be reporting on that add value to people, environment, and society. And then, of course, by embedding ESG, you are protecting the values of as an enterprise and as you grow. So these are very good reasons why you should be very much interested in ESG, integration into your practices. Well, what do you lose? We can flip what you gain by adopting ESG practices or integrating ESG practices in your operation. The reverse side is the fact that it's what you lose if you don't. You miss funding opportunity or grants. There will be trust issue with your partners. Your reputational risks will be at stake. You will be considered not to be transparent enough. You will definitely be falling behind your competitors who are improving day in, day out. Then, of course, remember that there's always going to be the issue about future-proofing challenges in a shift climate, policies, and talent landscape. What it means is simple. There are people now who are much worried about the environment, and they will not even want to work in an environment where these sustainability principles are not upheld, and you don't want to be one of them. So that is the way it looks now. So good reason to be able to adopt the principle and mainstream them in your operations. Good. Would there be any question on why today is important for you and your social enterprise? And that what we are doing today add value to your business? Questions, comments? Would there be any question or comments before we go into the third part of our discussion?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes. My name is Patrick Davis, the Executive Director of Gates Foundation Ghana.
Okay.
I just joined. I'm late though, but I wanted to know how this presentation or how this classes fit me to manage my organization, which is an NGO. Thank you.
So, yes, so we will soon be getting into that. So you have joined at the right time because we are now going to look at we're going to do a little bit of deep dive of the E and the S and the G and how they are relevant to your business in terms of specific practical examples very, very shortly. But we were just looking at overall, if you integrate ESG, the benefits that will accrue to you or the loss you suffer for not integrating ESG into your operation. That we just finished. But we are now going to do a deep dive, and I'm sure that will be answered by the time we finish the session 3. So you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and then we will see how. So first of all, we look at what we are going to look at, what you have to do. And then we look at the next session, how you can do it, okay, the practical means of doing it. So, yeah. So let's get on with it. We will answer it by the time we finish the session over here. Thank you. Any other question? Okay. So just to be clear that the objective here is to help leaders connect ESG principle to their organization mission and stakeholder expectation, and that will enable you to focus on the most important or what matters most for the business and for the community that you serve. So that is the whole thing about what we are trying to do. So to start answering the question that was just asked by our colleague that joined some few minutes ago, first of all, let's start by understanding what we mean by identifying what matters. So we call it materiality. ESG materiality, if you want to call it that way. And it's basically to understand for each of you as a social enterprise what is important to you as a business or as a social enterprise and your stakeholders. In other words, there are so many principles, so many factors and of ESG that if you want to comply with all of them, then you end up overblowing the whole issue. But every business should look at this principle and ask the basic question: which of these factors or principles are relevant or most important to my business and to my stakeholders, so that I can focus on those ones and keep an eye on the rest. And that is what we mean by materiality. In other words, if you are asked to report on what you have been doing, you will be reporting on what you consider to be the most important things to you as a business and to your stakeholders that you are reporting to. Because the reason why it's important is that it saves you time and energy, and of course money, to focus on what is important. It will help and beneficiary as well. So you are able to tell your story very well. Sometimes the storytelling is a bit problematic because we have not fully identified what is important to those that we are looking at to tell the story to. So it's very, very important that we understand this basic thing, because we will come back to it when we look at the factors and ask ourselves, which ones are the most important? And I want that section to be very interactive. Now, to help you do this very well, sometimes we use this matrix. We call it the materiality matrix. It is a 2x2 grid, but you can actually expand this to even to 3 or 4 or 5. But the critical thing is that ask yourself, as a business, you have the left-hand side, you have the high business impact and the low business impact. You can have medium business impact. And to the right-hand side on the top, you have the high stakeholder concern. We have to ask ourselves, will it have high business impact when we adopt this principle? And will it have high stakeholder concern when we adopt it? Or will it have high business impact but low stakeholder concern? Depending on what we decide, we are able to say that this one will be a top priority for us. This one will be of strategic importance to that. This one we will engage, or this one will have low priority, we just monitor. But if it is high stakeholder concern but low business impact, then we only engage. Maybe we will make sure that it protects our reputation against our stakeholders, actions. But if it is low stakeholder concern, it's also having low business impact, then we'll just monitor, but we don't invest too much resources in that. So this grade we have here, this metrics, is to help you make a decision of every single ESG factor that you take, or ESG performance indicator you want to prioritize as a business or as a social enterprise. So it's important that we are able to look through this and decide. So we are going to be looking at these as we go along, and I want this session to be very, very participatory. But even within social enterprises, you will not have the same priorities. So remember that because maybe you are focusing on different sectors and different communities with different priorities. So remember, the fact that you are also social enterprise does not mean that all of you will have the same the indicators. No. So remember, you have a peculiar business model, and that is what is driving the discussion. So now let's go into the E and then the S and the G and take them one by one. And I will, as much as possible for each one, give very practical example that will be relevant to your small business. So the first dimension we are taking is the principles and application of environmental factors. So we are now dealing with environmental factors. Let's start. Now, what you have here is that the core principles are there. So you see resource efficiency. You go down, you see waste reduction and management. Then you go down, you see carbon footprint reduction. These are the principle or the factors, and the principle associated with that, or the definition associated with that, if we say resource efficiency as a core factor and environmental factor, say that in environmental factors, the first one is that use resources efficiently to avoid too much of waste and save money, save costs of doing your operations. That's the first one. Now, let's take them one by one and look at what they mean in practice. It's saying that number one, for example, is your energy usage. As a social enterprise operating in an office space, you use electricity. What measures can you take, practical measures can you take to reduce electricity consumption? And seeing the relationship between the reduction in electricity consumption to the cost of operating that office or doing business. So one measure that comes up is that, can we start using energy saving bulbs, for example, that uses less, watts, right? They exist. They use little energy. Now, the other one is that even the reliance on the national grid, is it possible for us to even consider using solar? But let's still keep on with the energy consumption. So how practically, how can we ensure that we make everybody that works in that office understand that the light does not need to be on when we are not in the room. And that we develop a culture of putting the bulb or the light off when we are living at the close of day. That is a practical example of how you can implement this. If we take water consumption, a similar thing, how can we reduce water consumption in the business that we do? Now, a time will come, as small as you are, you can say reduce water consumption. Now, even the chambers we use in the office, do you know that we have ones that use less water? The toilets. The one we now, most of us have is the one that uses 1 bucket of water just to flush. Right? I mean, when there are new toilet seats that will use half of that or even a third of that kind of water, we will say probably that, oh, that is very expensive. But imagine using it for and paying a water bill for the next 5 years. Would that water bill not be more than how much would have cost you to buy a new chamber and a new, this thing? And people will go to the washroom, wash their hand, and leave the taps on, and the water will flow until the next person comes to put it off. How can we make sure that we are able to reduce all this? This is our efficiency issue, energy efficiency issues. All right? And even the equipment that we use in the office, the printers. The other thing is also about the paper consumption in the office. How can we digitalize some of the processes or some of the activities that we do to avoid printing everything? Something that can be sent by email, but we will print. Now, you may say that, oh, it's just 1 page, 2 page. But when you accumulate that for a very long time, then you see the effect on the cost of doing the business. How can we make sure that we adopt the basic tools that will minimize the printing that we do in the office? These are the practical means, my brother. You asked the question of reducing or being efficient in the resource efficiency. That's what this principle is talking about. The second one is waste reduction and management. And here we are talking about what in general we call the circular economy, right? To make sure that what used to be waste does not go waste. And I remember when we had the interaction with you some time back, we had some of you turning even the clothes, waste clothes, the catch clothes and all that into some other, use. Some of you were collecting hacks and other things that used to generate new product. That's what this means. How can we ensure that we are able to partner with even those that are recycling some of the waste that we create? When we are doing all this thing, we are actually helping the environment very, very, very much. So then the overall in all this is what we call the carbon footprint reduction. How our activities as businesses create emission, greenhouse emission, that is causing the ozone layer to deplete and causing the problems that we all face with. Either there's excessive heat, if you are following what is happening in America now, as we speak, the temperature in some places is around 31 degrees. Before we came in, I checked, 31 degrees Celsius, extremely hot. And then somebody else is in negative something elsewhere, and others are dying of excessive heat, some are dying of excessive cold. That's the world we live in now. all these as a result of climate-related changes and largely contributed by human activities. So the issue about making sure that where, for example, we can go together. I mean, if you take the car we drive, they all have issues. The motorbike, which most of us use in our businesses, some of them are so old that, yeah, the emission level is very high. You consume a lot of fossil fuel. How can we begin to look at, oh, okay, we can use electric motorbikes? That's sort of the one that we have. You will be reducing your carbon footprint. We could go together instead of driving individually there. So these are things that are practically possible in your operation every single day that you have to make a decision. So we all can do that. We all can reduce our carbon footprint. And the principle also goes beyond what we do as institution. It also look at what your partners also do to make sure that whoever your partner is or that have to do, whether they are your vendors, your suppliers, or whichever one, they are also adopting similar technology. And those of us who are into agri, business or supporting the production of foodstuff and all that, even the kind of chemicals they are using are all having environmental effect, and that is causing so much damage to the soil and all that. So these are issues that as social enterprises we need to be aware of when it comes to the environmental factors. Would there be a question here? Question. Is it home enough? Is it close to you enough now in terms of what you have to do as social enterprises? If there's something I've said that you think that is high level and is not applicable to small businesses, you let me know. Because we want to bring it to your level that when you talk about these things, they are applicable to smaller businesses as they are to large companies.
Hello, sir.
Musa, yes.
Thank you very much for the insight you are giving us with respect to that matter. I think currently that is the topical issue, people considering how they can be sustainable.
Yeah.
Of sustainability, I'm sure is the umbrella and all these concepts said with respect to social and governance issues.
Yeah.
My question really is how are we going to be able to really see the impacts of some of these strategies with respect to that matter? We can quantify this month, this how much maybe electricity or water I'm using. And when I implemented the strategy you are giving us, this is how much I'm also. I think we'll be glad if you can put more weight and emphasis on that subject and really measure the impact on our businesses. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Ablai. Very, 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 very important question because if we can't measure it, then we wouldn't even know what we are doing in terms of success or failure, right? So it starts with knowing what we call the data points. In other words, When we agree what we want to measure, then we will have a template that will help us to collect that data. And when we collect that data, then we will analyze. So let's give ourselves a typical example of what we want to measure. So let's take the electricity. We want to measure our electricity consumption. Remember, we are measuring the electricity consumption, not necessarily the bill we pay. Because the tariff can go up even when you reduce your consumption, and therefore your total cost will still go up, and then you say that you have done nothing. So the focus is not on the total amount you are paid for electricity, but rather the consumption. It starts with the consumption. So how do we measure that? Assuming you have the office space, somebody will have to then look at this month. So take the baseline. It starts with taking the baseline data. How much electricity did we consume in this office this month? That's the starting point. And it is the meter will tell us. The reading is there. So somebody must take the readings and say that we consume this amount of electricity. So this amount, what we started with at the beginning of the month. Let's say you want to start tomorrow. Next week, which is July. Ask yourself, July, the month of July, what is the electricity consumption in our office? If you have other branches, ask yourself, that branch, all the branches that we have, what is the baseline? We want to measure the amount of electricity we are consuming. We take that baseline data. Then we put in place the measures that we want to put in place to reduce the electricity consumption. Now, at the end of the month, when we have started with the implementation, we are able to take the data again. We will see the reading that shows that there is a reduction in the electricity consumption by this kilowatts. Do you get it? So you can do month by month. At the end of the year, you are able to actually measure the reduction in the electricity consumption, and then you are able to report on this. And what I have just described is the same thing you do for water consumption. You do the same thing. Take the baseline data as you have it now. Start looking at the implementation on how to reduce water consumption in the office and in your operations. And then measure the reduction in the water consumption. So in your report, we are able to do that. Now, to make it even more lively, once you have these data points and then you are measuring, you then begin to, now you can set targets and say that we want to then reduce our electricity consumption by this unit. We want to reduce our water consumption by this unit. The last one, the practical example I want to add to it is your paper consumption, the paper usage in the office. The A4, you can say, look at, on the average, the quantity of A4 that we use. And then you give yourself how many A4 do we want to use or reduce the consumption during the period. Don't forget that you can actually begin to now look at even acquiring the printers that is able to quantify or give you numbers on the paper consumption in the office. And how will you reduce it? You begin to digitalize some of the things you do. You begin to give soft copies of the things that you would have printed. And then you are able to measure these things. So these are practical examples of how you can get it done. Thank you very much. Would there be questions? Further questions? Now you can go back to electricity, your fuel consumption as well. You get it. So you can look at the motorbike or the vehicle, the gallons that we are consuming, and take measures to reduce that. So it starts with, first of all, agreeing what we want to measure. Take the baseline of what we are currently consuming on all this. Then you begin to measure how you are consuming over a period, and you begin to see the reduction in this. And that's what your report should be talking about when you are reporting to your partners. Thank you very much. Any question? Any other one? Before we go to the other factors again. Musa, is that okay? Hello? Okay. I want to believe this is clear. You can go to the next one.
Yes, please, we can continue.
Good. So, let's continue with the environmental factors. So we have the issue on sustainability procurement. And here we are saying that when you are choosing those that will provide services for you, be mindful of what that vendor or that person does that protect the environment. So the whole principle is that you are not just interested in your own activity having impact on the environment, but you are equally concerned about the activities of your partners. So whoever you are interacting with, the question is that verify to make sure that that institution has the same principles as you are. And then you are able to reduce it through your procurement. So you'll find out that even you as social enterprises, when you are applying for funding and other thing, they will tell you some other conditions that do you have this policy, environmental policy, for example, who do you source for? They will ask you that you should attach some social, sign some DEI agreements and policies. They will ask you for all these things because they want to make sure that you as their partner, you are also complying with the very thing they are complying with. So it's not all the things we talked about earlier from the previous slides are the things that you as a social enterprise you are doing. But they want you to go beyond that to look at your partners as well. So you cannot have a partner that pollute the environment and you are happy to work with that partner. No. The very thing that you are complying with to reduce environmental effects and reducing climate change effect, your partners are equally doing same. That is the point here. And then the earlier I mentioned about the circular economy, designing out, how you reduce or convert otherwise waste into productive one use, so that whatever you would have thrown away become reusable in some form. And nowadays, what I was told just last week, an institution, what they do is that the paper waste that they generated, they were throwing them away. They go and give it to a recycling business, and then they will give them toilet. They do toilet roll. So they will go and give them the the papers that they would have thrown away, and then they will collect toilet roll. What have they done? They would have purchased the toilet roll. Is that not it? Now that has become cost savings for the institution. They don't buy toilet rolls again. and they consume a lot of that. Now they have somebody that give the toilet roll to them. And what they would have thrown away and caused environmental pollution is also being recycled into something of productive use, creating more jobs opportunity. So that is what we are talking about when we are dealing with the circular economy and how it's reducing waste and environmental, reducing environmental pollution. So that is this one. And then, of course, you are expected to be guided by some environmental policy. So as small as you are, it could just be a few pages of your environmental policy that guides you as a business, that this is our, non-negotiable, culture as a business, that we will do A, B, C, D to protect the environment as we create sustainable business for ourselves. So that is where we are with this particular one when it comes to the other partners that we deal with. Would there be any questions here? And as I said, we want this one to be practicable to you, and there shouldn't be anything that is outside your ability to implement in your own small way. And that's very, very essential. Otherwise, you'll be speaking from the top of the mountain when you are on the ground. That is actually not the case. So, yes. Would there be any questions? Otherwise, we proceed. Fidelis, your camera is moving up and down. Okay, now we can see your face. Yeah. Mimi, do you have a question? Mimi, you are speaking, but I can't hear you. Your mic is muted. Okay. I want to believe that you are on the phone, not with us. But your camera is on anyway. Good. So the last one here is on climate risk awareness. And be aware that your activities will cause climate change. It will impact on your operations and the community that we purport to serve. So be very much aware of that it is important you are aware of your activities and its impact on climate, whether it is flooding, heat waves, as I gave examples, or what is happening. You need to know, you need to be aware of what climate risks you face as an enterprise and what your measures are to reduce the impact on you. And then be interested in the equal measure of diversity or biodiversity, making sure that we interact with the ecosystem very well as a business, and making sure that everything we do does not destroy the ecosystem that is close to you. So whether it is water bodies that your activities or those that you are supporting are creating problem for the water bodies, be mindful of the impact. Whether it is the forests that those that you are working with are destroying, be mindful that that is destroying it. If it is whether it is the rivers, the lakes, all those ones, the soil and everything. Be mindful of not just your own activity, but your beneficiaries' activity, that they don't destroy the environment. That is all about this one. Good. Questions, comments before we go to the social dimension, which is your on this one. Now, watch what we have here. Look, we're saying that you don't need to tackle all the things that we're talking about at a go. Focus on the most relevant to your operations, your community, and the value that you uphold. And also remember that environmental impact can support funding, partnership, and public credibility, even for small business like yourself. Start with some measurable action, 2 to 3 areas, and align your mission that you uphold to those ones and pursue those very well. Start small and expand. Make sure you know exactly. So if you are to write 3 of the things that we have just discussed that you want to set target on and measure yourself on when it comes to environmental factors, which one would that be? Just 3. Just mention 3. Now, I want you to write it out for us to discuss quickly. I want to know which one. Which one do you want to measure yourself against? Who will start for us? Yes.
Uh, people
Yeah, can you video back? So I'm sure you get that connectivity to speak. Thank you very much, Musa.
thank you to say. We're looking at
Mhm.
automate the IT infrastructure, ensure we employ IT more things, reduce the paper, the and the energy, uh, efficient energy, efficient energy. In terms of the bulbs that we are using, then yes. So what's the source with respect to energy, um, energy related saving? Thank you.
Okay, I think we are having serious connectivity issue with um, the comment that was just made. Is it possible to type it? Have you, Mimi, can you put implementation of ESG into steps? What to do at each stage? It is to say do. Okay. Okay. So could you please write on it? Read it. Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. Um, Okay, Abdul Musa, efficient energy utilization. Good. So Abdul Musa is saying that he would like to measure efficient energy utilization. Maybe we should add water to it, paper usage to it for. I would like we will add water to it. Musa. Okay, we have another one. Okay, okay. All right, very nice one. Good, 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 good. We are waiting for the rest of you. Quickly, you type the one you want to measure. So let's all read it. We are waiting for you. Mm. Everybody, please go to the chat box and let's interact over there. Let's put in our indicators that we want to measure ourselves. Who else? It's only Musa. So the rest of you, should we give up on you? Esther, I don't want to give up on you. Maybe Josephine will start from the head office. Josephine, what do we do?
Hello.
Fidelis, you say waste management, water usage, air quality, and odor. Do you have the technology? So now let's go into reality here. Fidelis has added air quality and odor to what he wants to measure. Do you have the technology to measure air quality and odor? Because otherwise, how are you measuring it? You cannot put an indicator you can't measure. So let's be clear on that one. Greenstock Limited, if you are changing to your name, it would have been great. So you can right click on that and change it to your real name, because now I can only call you Greenstock Limited, which I believe it is not. Waste is number one, carbon emission is number two, electricity and water are there. Okay. The carbon emission. Okay. All right. Okay. So reduction of energy consumption. Good. Mauto. Okay. But again, we are still waiting to get more. Any other ones?
We have another one in the chat box from Nora.
Salas. We have one, Nora, energy, water, plastic, rubber usage. Oh, great. Plastic water usage. You want to clearly burn. So one of the things that we talk about is that not only about your usage, but your partner. So assuming, for example, you want to do a training program, one of the things that you can tell the hotel is that you cannot accept plastic cups in your workshop. Yeah. So they have to find alternative. That's your condition for using the hotel. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, that's how consumers are becoming more and more powerful around the globe because they dictate what they want. If you do otherwise, they simply won't patronize what you are doing. Pastor Entry Malik, waste management and water management. Okay, good. So you need to be able to measure everything you are putting there. So when you say waste management, you need to be able to let us know, or you must have idea of the nature of the waste and how that is measured, whether they are measured if in tonnage, in whichever kilogram, whatever, and then you're able to measure how you are turning that into something useful and what you are getting out of that. So these are very, very, very important. Yeah. Okay. Now, any other one? Okay. Sylvia, you have not spoken, no. Sylvia Fafali, say something. Sylvia, what do you have to add? Mm-hmm. Do you have another comment? Mr. Adams, Adam Kabila, you want to add something for us to close this and move on to the social? Okay. Thank you very much for the contribution that we had. And now we are moving on to your territory, which is the social dimension of ESG. And so we talk about, first of all, the first factor here is employee well-being. And what do we mean? That as social enterprises, we need to promote the health, safety, and well-being of our staff. And we mean that we are interested in their mental health support system, making sure there's fair wages and salary and benefit, making sure that there's work-life balance, and then we have created safe working environment. This is what we mean by the employee well-being. The other factor, which is DEI, and I'm sure you are aware of all the hula baloo about DEI happening in the Harvard University with Trump fighting over this. It simply means diversity, equity, and inclusion. Basically to mean that there should be fair access and representation in all that we do as businesses, whether it is hiring or engaging workers, whether it's the support we give them for capacity building, whether it's the pay that we are paying, whether it's accessibility to everything that we provide. In other words, let's make sure that ethnicity in our part of the world is key issue that is of concern. religion is issue, gender is issue. All these things must not be used. The PWD status of the person are all issue about the diversity, equity, and inclusion. That whatever we choose to do, we need to make sure that we consider everyone and giving everybody equal opportunity to participate fully and enjoy fully in the business we do. So that is that one. And of course, you are very much into this. So the issue about community engagement is very, very important. Here, what we mean is that you live to serve communities. And so everything you do must be demand-driven, and that you closely co-create solutions with the society or the community you operate from, and that whatever you do must be in the interest of the community. And so that is the point over here. Again, the human rights and labor standard issues, I'm sure we have heard about how the cocoa sector some time ago was had challenges with what they call child labor, which sometimes can be a bit of a controversy as what child labor is. But I think that the whole argument is that children whoever is working must be able to make the decision to work or qualify to work. There are laws and that you are not forcing anybody to work against their will. So that is the whole thing. And that you give voice to workers to join groups to do other things that enhances labor practices. And very, very important. So again, it's not just about what you do as a social enterprise, but what your supply chain actors are equally doing. Any partner you work with, assuming, for example, typical example is you have a number of ad growers that you support. If you are into the agric, value chain, and you have a number of ad growers that you support, and some of these smallholder farmers have a number of child labor and all that. This is become a big issue. People working against their will. So that's a typical example of what we are talking about. So you make it sure that in engaging with these groups, you are making it very clear that you cannot tolerate any of these smallholder farmers that engages child labor or that engages people that are not of age and working against their will and their capacity to be who they want to be in the future. You can't accept that. Then the issue about social impact delivery, so the whole business of social enterprises is trying to make impact on society. And it should be very clear that you are very clear as an enterprise, your mission, your vision, your objectives. You have clear, measurable performance indicators you set for yourself, and you have come out with how to measure those performance indicators and the impact that is having on society, whether it's job creation, whether it's the services that you are delivering, how many people are benefiting from your activities, how those benefits are resulting in change in their lives of the people, whether it's their income, whether it's dignified jobs that you are creating. These are all issues that have to do with your impact, and you should be very clear how you can measure and tell the good story around that. And then you have inclusive economic opportunity, making sure that no one is disadvantaged in the work that they are doing, making sure that you develop the capacity of your staff and the people you work with so that they are fully equipped with the skills and the knowledge and attitude they need to do their work very well. And then making sure that all those that you are also working with in your procurement have also adopted equal measures of this nature. So every time we talk about what you have to do, we also talk about your partners as well, because it's not just about you, it's also about those that you interact with to get your work done. Right. Then two more things, education, capacity building, very, very important. You don't engage people and leave them to rot. You have to mentor them, you have to coach them, you have to give them opportunity, equal opportunity for everyone to participate in training. So this training we are having, question is, how will it get down to your staff? You, of course, you need to create opportunity for all of them to benefit from such capacity building exercises. And then the issue about how you treat your customers, how you treat your consumers, how you treat your beneficiaries of your service, and making sure that you're giving them the right information. You are not, communicating with, information that is not true. You are very transparent with them. You are protecting their private data, making sure that you have system to protect their interests and making sure people don't have access to their information and so on and so forth. That is what is very, very critical under the social enterprise, So would there be questions here? And then I want, again, we'll be discussing the key social factors that you measure, because I won't say you'll be measuring, because this is what you purport to do. So everybody should be able to tell us what 3 performance indicators you have been measuring and reporting on in all that you do under the social factors. So can we have that interaction? Can we quickly do that? I think that I'll mention names. Can you do that quickly? Okay, so let's start. Eric Lamptey, can you tell us 3 social performance indicators you have been measuring in the past, and based on what we are doing, you want to add to it? Quick one. This one, let's be quick with it. While you are doing that, Eric, Esther will be preparing to be the next person, and then Evans will follow, and then we will have Mary, Isa, then we have Michael, and then Mimi. Can you tell us quickly? This is what you do. This is what you say you represent. This is what makes you social enterprises. So tell us something. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much. This is Eric.
Eric.
So our sector is in the agro-processing business. We are in agro-processing. So we process fruits into juices, and then our focus is to make sure people that we supply the fruit juice to are healthy. So we provide quality fruit juice without preservatives, without sugar. And then also, because we use plastic, we also have an NGO that we educate students and then within the community on the use of plastic, so that they will not just dispose of the plastic after drinking it. So they have to recycle it. There are small ways that they can, and then also teach them how to segregate these plastics. So once in a while, we also go there to distribute dustbin and then sanitation tools for them to also get to know the use, to inculcate the act of sanitation within them, so that as they go, they will know that yes, it's not good to just drink because it's plastic and then dispose it off, but disposing of in the right place and also being able to recycle it. So for now, this is what we do as a social enterprise in the environment sector. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. What you have given us a lot, but I was looking for 2 things that you measure the social factors, the social dimensions, two things that you consider as impact areas. You are giving us a lot on the environmental. Can you give us one or two on the social? So, for example, how you gather those, you are creating job opportunity in the value chain. Is that something that, yeah,
Yeah, so actually, fruits when they come in bumper harvest and then they don't have any place to store it, they some get rotten and then they dispose them off. But because we are in the fruit juice sector, we are able to buy it before they get to that stage and then process it and able to store it.
okay,
Yes.
okay,
So that also give them some kind of income instead of just disposing, waiting
okay,
out till they get spoiled and then they dispose it off. Yes. So we buying it
okay,
and kind of increase, make them get value for what they produce and not get to the rotten stage. Yes, please.
okay, all right. So creating ready market, buying it, or you have become like an off taker for whatever together. That's great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Next,
you.
thank you, Eric. Yes, Esther, you are waiting. Esther, you have indicated training and self-improvement in educational level. What does that exactly mean? Training and self-improvement. So how do you measure that? You provide training to who? Is it your staff? Is it employees? Is it your beneficiaries? Exactly what does that mean? Okay, so the staff. Okay. So now when you talk about the staff, there are two issues, training or capacity building in general, two things. First of all, the number of training that you have organized, the number of participants in that training, if there are anything that you are actually able to measure as an outcome of the training that you have organized, or the impact of your training, because you are social enterprises. So you should be able to tell us the impact of that capacity building on the income level of those beneficiaries, the job opportunities that they have, and all that. So that is what we will be measuring. So we should be able to indicate clearly the performance areas, then the KPIs under each of the performance areas. Would that be okay? Great. Next person. We have Evans. Evans, social enterprises. Social enterprises. This is what you do. You said you are social enterprises, and we are looking at social dimension of ESG. So, in fact, this one, I shouldn't even have spoken. I should just go ahead and ask you, tell us what you measure as your impact areas when it comes to this. Evans. Dana. Abdullah. Yes. Hey, you are not speaking, no. Amos. I thought this area there, you flow like something. But you are not flowing at all. Budu Mary. And Yes, I can hear. I'm not getting the. Who else? Mimi, I thought you were going to speak. Oh. Nora. Hello, my people. Mhm. Should we go?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Michael from Greenstop Limited. We are into um, livestock and agriculture crops. We ensure organic farming, and some of the things we measure is the, uh, uh, some of the social things that we measure is the yield of the farmers that usually when there is an improvement in the yield, it also means it's more income. And we also look at manpower. We tell power tillers and innovative agricultural equipment, which saves them time on the number of acres that they would be able to work on. So we also look at the man hours that we are able to save, and also we also look at the inclusion of people with deformities and the job opportunities that it creates for them. So I think that is the three that I can put out for now.
Okay. Wonderful. 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 I'm sure we can improve on some of the indicator in terms of being more specific because what we are talking about, so for example, the number of farmers that we have engaged during the period clearly increase in the yield, or you can even look at it from increase in their acreages and the increase in the yield per acre, the increase in their income levels uh, because of your interventions. And then, of course, the environmental dimension you mentioned, which is great, is the issue about the environment, the use of, organic, fertilizers. So, yeah, that's a wonderful one to mention. So that when we are giving the narrative, we are more specific.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Amos, do you have something you want to add quickly before we move on? Mr. Sedu? Okay. I thought Mr. Sedu's is on. Um, okay, so Esther, talk about training and improvement in educational level research staff. Hi. Yes, hi. Somebody, you haven't shown your name, but you say hi. So I also say hi. Uh-huh. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay. So we are saying that in conclusion, the social dimension is often your greatest strength. Remember, the social dimension is often your greatest what? Strength. Make sure you measure and communicate it clearly. Right? And Just look at the factor we have looked at. So you can link many of these principles directly to your social mission and stakeholder expectation. So start by prioritizing 3 to 5 areas based on your value, resources, and community needs. Always start with looking at what is the low-hanging fruit we can easily implement. Very, very, very important. Which one do we want to start? Which one do we want to report on? So that's very, very important. So that will wrap up this session. We'll go to the governance one quickly. Again, here we are talking about leadership and accountability. So even if you are the director, the owner, you need to have clear leadership structure and ownership. So for example, you need to have clearly defined role for yourself as a CEO. You need to have clearly defined role for any staff that work with you and who is responsible for finance and accounts related. So these are very, very important. And as we indicated earlier on, it's important that even if there's you have advisory committee or a board, or make sure that there's somebody in charge of ESG performance. And we always say that let your meetings and report reflect that you are concerned about ESG performance. So board involvement in your strategic decision making, ESG performance, let somebody be in charge of that. And let somebody report on how you are doing periodically as part of your report. And let it be very clear that there is the integrity, ethical conduct is very important. So make sure that everybody is signed to a code of ethics and is prepared to, because these are very, very important for fundraising practices. It's very, very important. If you can show that you can be trusted with small, who will trust you with big? So, Amos, if I think that you can put your camera off, your camera is on, but you are not seated. Thank you. Then the issue of transparency and reporting, very, very, very important. Kindly note that you already do your reporting, whichever form it is. All that is required here is that a section of that report is dedicated to ESG performance reporting. That is all. So whatever you agree or you decide to be the area you want to focus on, just make sure that your report reflects that appropriately. And remember, as a social enterprise, your partners will be looking out for that report, the clarity of that report, the ability to have quantifiable indicators, both qualitative and quantitative indicator you are measuring, that shows the impact of your activity. Very, very, very important. And sometimes it is how we show this report that stakeholder will be keen to work with us. All the beneficiary activities that we have undertaken, we need to be able to document them properly, have quality pictures of these things, put them on the website, those of us who have websites. If you don't have website, document them properly and get support to put the report together. And that is what will be your trump card, especially with your engagement with your partners. Very, 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 very important. And then finally, if there are some compliance issues, you have to make sure that you are complying with those issues. And have a governance policy, very, very important as well. And as indicated earlier, if you want facility from a bank, a grant, all the funding that you need to expand. The bottom line is that they will still ask you for some governance framework. And if it's you alone, get people that you can trust, that you can work with, that will do the oversight for you. Otherwise, you alone will not be good enough unless you don't intend to expand. You don't intend to have other stakeholders get other people to support the strategy that you want to implement through your ESG, integration. Very, very, very important. Okay. Again, we mentioned that good corporate governance build trust with funders, community, and staff. Start with structures, small board, you can just be three. Basic policies, not complicated. Role clarity, everybody, what everybody is supposed to do is clearly defined. And in this case, we're talking of ESG responsibility, as small as it is, and start embedding the governance culture and into your business. So please, this is what the governance is about. Without you having those basic governance structures, it's always going to be very difficult, especially because a lot of the things you do, you want funding support. Without the governance structures, you will struggle. And we know it is one of the major reasons why most of us are struggling to meet those basic things. So, yes, yeah. So, yes. So, would there be questions on governance? We are wrapping up gradually on the principles. So, this is a deep dive. We try to give you the basic principles and application of the ESG in social enterprises as a teaser to the other things that could, that we will be doing in the subsequent period. So, would there be questions? Our 4 o'clock is up, and we have been able to deal with the principles and their applications to you. So, let's go. Yes. Unfortunately, you have not changed your name, so we are not able to mention your name, but I see Access Hub Ghana. So Access Hub Ghana.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. So you can mention your name and then we take it from there.
Yeah, a very good afternoon to you.
Good.
My name is Lisa between two of the register, and then also the business aspect is there. That is my small business where I do mushroom farm.
Mhm.
Yes, I want to recommend you that this is a very great workshop to throw more light on some of these things that we have to inculcate, especially when it comes to the environment. And the same also socially is very important, depending on our services. So I wanted to comment on the timing. I just finished a workshop, so I was hearing you. So I was doing some consulting, and I have to jump in. I have to jump in and probably go back and close it because it's already time. So I don't know if maybe Social Enterprise Ghana can work on the timing. For some of us, when it comes to the afternoon shift, we are busy doing some other things. But then in the early hours, let's say 10 o'clock to 12, then we are already in the office seated. There might not be some serious cases that we have to attend to. So probably when it happened that way, we'll be able to contribute effectively.
Okay.
But then just to quickly highlight on, you asked of some indicators that, of course, we do report it, right? We do report. So when the response was not coming, it makes it look like maybe it's not on the paper there. We do report. So for Lastlet Enterprise as a business entity, we look at revenue growth. Revenue growth in the sense of whether there's an increase or decrease in income over a period of time. And this is very important because we get to find out whether there's steady growth signal in the business health and whether the market demands are effective. So then we will look at the revenue this quarter and then versus last quarter. That is the business aspect. Then we also look at customer acquisitions. That is how much it costs to gain a new customer. How rapidly are they coming? This is also very important because it helps us to determine the marketing efficiency and the profitability. So this is in terms of the business. And when you come to the organizations where we provide service like Access Hub, we look at the impact and we measure some outcomes. For example, how well the organization is achieving its missions or its objectives. So we work towards some particular objectives. So how are we achieving that? So, and then we also look at operational efficiency, how effective the organization uses its resources. So we do reports. So just to add up from this end. So, but this is so insightful, and we're so grateful for this particular workshop. Thank you so very much. And it's delivered by a very nice, asking questions and then telling the participants if you don't say it, then I'll mention names. It put them on their feet and they get to think when they go back. So thank you so much, Mr. Mahama.
Thank you very much for the comment. We need to enjoy the work as well. Thank you very much. I just hope that your performance indicator, you add some few more environmental factors, indicators to it, and then add additional social impact areas, which I'm sure we will be discussing in our future engagements. So yeah, definitely we will have to do more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Michael, you wanted to add something?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This meeting is very wonderful, and I must say it's been a while since I fully participated in one of social enterprises meetings like this. And this particular is also for social enterprise. It's something I've been wanting to contact them to get clarification on whether after their meeting they have somewhere that maybe they record these meetings and put it there, because sometimes there are network challenges. I will be going on and off, on and off. I see sometimes some of their meetings is very wonderful, but I'm not able to fully participate. And with that, I think we can also advise them that if they don't have, then they can do that so that they would also be able to measure their social impact. Because if they have it on YouTube, they can also monitor how many people their education, this thing, yes. So yes, the interaction from people, the number of watch hours and all those, it's a social impact. So to social enterprise, I don't know if there is anything like that. They kindly let me know, because I've always been wanting to go back to your previous workshops and be having a look or refresh back and things, but I look around the internet and I don't have anything. So please go.
Hello, Michael. Yes, so you
Ah,
into that mostly we have all recordings of our online sessions. So mostly what we do is we share with participants through their email after the session. But then we are working on one thing that is putting it on our website. Yes, so putting all the recordings on our website so that they can have other participants or other members who couldn't join can have access. But at the moment we send it through email. So look at the YouTube and
please,
social
I've been joining most of your meetings, but I've never received any email of the recordings. So I don't know how you do it. I mean,
So we take
I'm,
emails from the chat box, yes. That's the last thing we do before we end.
okay. So then, please, this one, I hope it will come.
Yes.
So if this one won't come, the next time I will still bring it up again.
Don't worry, it will come.
All right. Thank you very much.
Michael, don't worry. I think that as Josephine indicated, we have lined up a number of interventions for you, and I believe that in the coming days, um, you will receive the communication to that effect. And so, yeah, there's a long lasting relationship that we are building. I want to make sure that every member gets the full benefit of what we are doing. So, yes, there are more to come. This is just a teaser. This is just to give you the fundamental principles of ESG and why it's relevant for social enterprises and how you can actually apply them and derive your performance indicators for sustainable reporting from. So we just laid the foundation. It's very clear that there are more sessions that will require us to do more detailed discussion. There are more training areas that we will be talking about. Perhaps just give me a minute. Let me quickly look at those models. I mean, I'm sure these are different models that we are looking at rolling out with you, and so your Social Enterprise Ghana will get in touch with you as we prepare to roll out more trainings for you. I'm sure these are different models that are relevant to what you do. And so we are going to do deep dive into the broad areas that we have just discussed. So, for example, if we take circular economy and resource efficiency, we do deep dive. If we talk about ESG, governance, ethical leadership, social impact measurement and reporting, there are a lot that we can discuss how to structure and develop your ESG and sustainable report that will gain traction with your funders. So there are so many areas how to even set your performance indicators and report them on. So more like your resource areas and key performance indicators and your MAE framework you use. So we will do a lot of deep dive in the coming months, and so just keep watching, and we will get there, and we will do this together. We will be here to help you, provide you with all the tools and template you need to make sure that you can do a good job. We are all going to be proud to see that you are doing very well. On that note, I say thank you very much, and I'll hand you over to Josephine to wrap up, and until we meet in the next session. Thank you very much. Josephine, over. But just to let you know that this slides, Josephine will share it with you once we are done. So don't worry. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahama, for this insightful workshop. It has really been educative, and then it has taught us a lot as how small business we are. No matter how small our businesses are, we can incorporate ESG, that is the environmental and then the social governance principles into our businesses to make it a big one, of course. And then we learned a lot. We learned that through this ESG, we can have benefits or we can get more partners who are socially responsible and are looking for businesses as such. And so incorporating ESG to our businesses is very crucial as either small businesses or large businesses. Yes. So this workshop has been interactive. And then as Mr. Mahama said, we'll be having more of these. So for this ESG, this is a startup, we'll build up on what we have started. So would ask you all to stay tuned for more workshops in relation to this. And so I would like to say a big thank you to our members, our participants for joining today's session. I hope this has been very educative. And also to our speaker, Mr. Mahama, thank you very much for your time and also for sharing these insights with us. We are very grateful for this workshop, yes, for facilitating this workshop. Yes, please. And so with the recordings as well, it will be shared with all the participants, and then we are getting them permanently on our website and our other social media platforms. So would like to end here for now and then continue during our next online workshop. So thank you very much once again to you all. So please.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. We can leave now.